everyone, and welcome to Nana's Crafty Home. My name is Tanya. Today's tutorial is going to show you how to seam or sew two corner-to-corner panels together. You can see here I have two panels that are the same size, and I have a base or a border of one row of single crochet stitches. This method is going to work for you best if you have a base or a border around your panels of a single crochet or a double crochet. Now you can have as many rows as you like for your border, but this technique is using those V's that you get at the top of those single crochet stitches. If you'd like to learn more about how you can add a border to your corner-to-corner projects, I do have a tutorial for that as well, and you can find a link below in the description. In order to sew your seams together, you're going to need a needle, a blunt needle. Let's go ahead and get started. So to begin sewing our panels together, we're going to place our panels face to face, right side together. So I have the right side of both of these panels facing each other and the wrong sides facing out. I have a long length of yarn left over from this panel. Of course, you can see here I have two different colors of panels, but by using the color from this one panel, it will make it less visible. If you had panels of the same color, you would definitely want to use the color of the panels that you're working with in order to make the seam as invisible as possible. So to get started, I'm using this length of yarn. If you didn't have a length of yarn, you would just get a long length of yarn and put it on your needle. And when you made your first pass, you would just leave a length of yarn that you would then go ahead and sew in, weave in your end to secure that in place. So what we're doing is we're going to be weaving our needle back and forth through these panels, and we're only going to be picking up the back loop of both sides. So I'm only going to be working through the back loop, not both loops. What would happen is if I worked through both loops, and this is something that you can practice on your own so you can see the different effects that you would get by using different loops. I'm using the V at the top of those single crochet stitches that I had made for my border, and I'm going to be putting my needle in the middle of that V, just picking up that back loop. If I were to pick up both loops and work through both loops, that's going to make more bulk on the back of my work. By doing it this way, it's splitting that stitch, so the front loop will show on the front side and the back loop will stay on the back side of that seam, which eliminates bulkiness. But again, practice and see what you like the best. You may use different things for different projects. First, come up here to this one here, right next to my green, and pick up only the back loop. So you can see here, there's my V, there's the front loop, and here's my back loop. So I'm going to insert my needle, only picking up that back loop, and then going across to the stitch right across from that on the other side and picking up that back loop. And then I'm going to do the same thing from the other side. Moving up a stitch, only the back loop, and then coming across to the stitch across on the opposite side and picking up the back loop. Coming up a stitch, back loop, going across, back loop only. And it's as simple as that. Going up a stitch, back loop, going across, back loop. Most important thing here when you're doing this is to make sure that you're not splitting your yarn, which can be easy to do depending on the needle that you're using. if you use a more blunt needle, it may be a little easier for you than a sharper needle. But you're really just trying to get into that space between those V's, between those loops on the top of your stitch, and not splitting that loop. And sometimes it will help if you're having problems with splitting your yarn. Insert your hook into that space and then wiggle your needle around just a little bit. It will open that space up slightly and you'll be able to feel and tell whether you're splitting your yarn. And just continue working back and forth. On both sides of those panels. You're going to want to make sure that your yarn is snug, not loose. You don't want to leave any gaps, but don't pull it too tightly because you don't want to pucker your work and give it an unprofessional look. So really you're just looking for that yarn to be in there snugly, but not too tightly. And let's take a look at what we've got so far. And see how nice that edge, that seam turns out. And you can see what I mean here. By using those back loops, it left these front loops, which also helps disguise the seam slightly. They kind of hide that seam in between the two panels by bringing those two loops, those unused front loops, forward on the front side of your work. But even though I'm using a green yarn with a pink panel over here, it's really not that noticeable. And that's all there is to it. You would just continue with that same repeat all the way down the edge of your panel, and you would just continue using that same technique for all of the panels for your project. I hope you found this tutorial helpful today. Thanks so much for being with me. As always, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss a new video. You can find me at Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can reach out to me at nanascraftyhome@gmail.com. Take care, everyone. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.